And I think we're just about there. Are we live? Is it? I think it is. Good evening. Feel like I'm hosting a news show now. No. So welcome back to another Vector 3 live stream. Got my words all in a muddle already. A Vector 3D live stream. There we go. Not so difficult after all. Still can't talk apparently. So of course today we're going to be carrying on with this very large box sitting on the desk, which is the frame and some other small assemblies of the VCore 3 by RatRig. So we've already done a couple of streams. We did kind of the unboxing and stuff and the set up the frame, and then we carried on finishing the frame and doing what we've got, what you can see at the moment. Today we're going to be continuing with that, just literally going through the instructions, adding the next little assemblies onto the frame. Going to be about 2.5 hours. I'm hoping we'll get through two kind of sets of the instructions, 2 pages, 2, what do you call them? I don't know, sectors. But if we don't, then we don't. So it is how it is. I'm not trying to rush it because obviously there's quite a lot to do. There's no chance we're finishing today. So we just get as much done as we can and then look forward to next time. So welcome everyone to the stream. Not much activity in chat, despite the fact there's quite a few people. So hello everyone. Hope you've all had a good week since we last did a live stream. It's been quite a busy one for me and hopefully good for you as well. Camera arrangement's a little bit strange because the printer got so big so quickly and everything's kind of being assembled up at this higher height that I've had to move everything up like we did at the end of last week. Hopefully that all still works okay. So the normal format is where we whack open the instructions. We've got a few different camera views to hopefully keep you all updated with exactly what's going on. But before we get started, just a very short message from our sponsors to say thank you for what we're doing. This live stream would not have been possible without our sponsors, RatRig, Duet 3D and 3D Printz. So a big thank you to them for supporting the live stream. Carry on watching to find out more, or you can follow the links in the video description. So we'll be hearing a little bit more from the sponsors later if you want to hear a bit more about the products from RatRig, from Duet and from 3D Printz. But for now, I think we're ready to get started. Get started, carry on, continue. That's the one. So in terms of instructions, we've done obviously we've done the preparation, frame assembly, XY drive, and today we're going to be starting with the XY idler assembly. So let's click on that and this should give us some indication of what we need to do. So some metal plates, M6 and lots of nuts. We have quite a lot of this already, so looks like we've got a bit more. There's definitely no shortage of hammer nuts in this build. They are everywhere, which I guess is what you kind of expect from a 3D printer based on extrusion. Why is the chat so suspiciously quiet? Is everyone feeling very timid today, or is something not going right? There's a normal number of people, but they're not less than the normal number of chat. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 pieces needed. So I'm going to be doing my best to show you exactly what goes on in each step. So if you are following along or you're doing your own assembly or you just want to find out more about the machine, then hopefully you'll be able to gather either the information that I'll say or speak, but if not, hopefully you'll be able to see exactly what it is you would like to see or take note of. Obviously, because there's been a week between last week and this week, you know, that's how time works and everything. I've had to kind of pack everything away and get it all out again, so things are in slightly different places, so it's not quite as smooth as it was originally. We had a silky smooth process and now we don't. but we'll get back to it. So just trying to get everything out. There we go, more people in the chat now. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. That's a... Anyway, so... Good evening to everyone. Has anyone that just likes chat has just started, or did it? Maybe there's something weird going on with the chat. Maybe there's some enormous delay that I'm not aware about. Or is this the large influx from the Rat Rig Discord that's just arrived? I'm not early. It was just quiet. Yeah, okay. Sure. Well, good to see everyone. Maybe we'll get more people arrive as we go on. I might have just put these in the wrong side, or are these... The plates were identical, I think. Plates are identical, so I just need to do them opposite ways. So this way is... Oh, what? Have I done it? Oh, what have I done? Okay, that's that side. So now this is going to be the other side. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get right with the orientation. It's... I think what's throwing me off is because they're obviously, in this diagram, they're obviously assembled in the orientation which they are placed on the printer, whereas it's, I don't know, for some reason it's easier in my head to work it out when you have the screw heads facing up. Obviously, in reality it makes no difference, but just one of those weird quirks of how my brain, I guess, visualizes that. Obviously, I'm doing it because the camera's from the other side of the desk. They'll probably, you won't necessarily see the same orientation relative to the camera. I guess for you, maybe it would be that way. There you go. You can see that I've done it, hopefully correct. So, put those on, put those on. Very simple. Looking from the back of the printer, we will now focus on the right XY idler and the left XY idler. Good to know. So the right one, okay, let's work this out. The left, yeah, so this is going to be the right hand side, which should be labeled R with this piece. Do we have an R? You can't see the R and L now they're installed, can you? Okay, right, left. As far as I'm aware, all the parts are PETG, I think, I'm pretty sure. Attach the right and left plates to the frame. Attach the right XY idler frame, place to the frame, fasten the... Hello, Becca. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see the Rat Rig Discord clan all turning up. This is kind of confusing, this assembly picture. So I'm guessing attach the XY, fasten the nuts. It says the right first, so presumably this first image is right, but it's from the inside. And it's not that orientation, it's this orientation. So the little hole is pointing towards the other parts that are already installed. There we go. Now I need to get my hex key out. I'm sure people will ask, because they always do. These are Wearer tools. They're all colourful. They're quite expensive. They're quite nice. They're rather durable. If you assemble a lot of stuff, I would recommend them. Sorry about that. If you don't assemble a lot of stuff, then it's probably not worth the additional cost. Oops. So then the other one, I guess, goes in the only other possible orientation it can go. I think, from my perspective, if whoever would like some feedback on the images, a top-down image showing the direction of the holes rather than these ones at the angle, the isometric view is difficult to work out, I thought, for this particular step. So that's that up through there. There was a comment. Global view would be appreciated since I can't really see where we are and how I should... Oh look, somebody else had exactly the same issue. Yeah, it is just quite difficult to tell when the parts are very similar and the orientation just gets a bit difficult to see. So we need to grab some printed parts. So this is the big old bag of printed parts that we've got. There are a couple in black, but most of them are this bright green PET G. Cannot see the part. There we go. That's one of the two. That's the left-hand side. There should be a similar one for the right-hand side. Can I ask about step 8, the optional panel? Is there a drawing for fabricating your own? Yes, that was in earlier on for the separation here. Personally, I don't know. You might be able to find more information on that in the links below. There you go. Mikhail's helped you. GitHub repository. Link in the files and printing section. There you go. So yes, if you do want to do your own, you are able to do that. I've missed a hole here that needs digging out. There we go. Good evening, pal. You didn't miss much. I'm not sure how to spell your name. Pronounce your name. Would it be like Paul, like P-A-U-L we would spell here? Is it Powell? Sorry, I don't know. I've only ever spoken English and I'm, yes, terrible at Pavel. Do I have to? I'm the worst. I'm so sorry. So we got some extra nuts, M16 nuts. Let's pull the camera back down here. Fasten XY idler right to the frame with 2 countersink screws M6x14 and 1 cap head M6x12. So this is a cap M6x12. So we need 1 of each of those, and then we need 4 M6x14s, which I think we might find in this collection of bits and bobs. For those that have not seen the earlier episodes, all the bags are, well, 95% of the bags are all labelled with exactly what's in them, like all the screws are. If they're like sets of things, sometimes they're not, but pretty much everything is labelled, which is really, really good. This one I think is spare. I know there was a separate one labelled spares. This is just some extras, maybe. Secondary double spares. Maybe I'll just use this space under the printer because I don't think we're going to be having anything there today. M6x20. Where are these screws? I cannot find. Oh, here we go. That looks about right. M5x16. No, M6 we're looking for. M6x14. There we go. Countersink. Countersink, 2 for each. M5x40. That was one of the long ones, I think. Or is that 35? That's 35. M5x55. Somewhere in the middle. M5x40. Unfortunately, because it's written on by hand, by pen, it does seem like some of it's rubbing off. But obviously, as long as you get part of it, you can not generally tell what the rest should be. So, how are we going to get these in? We need nuts. Where's the M6 nuts gone? Oh, I must have had over here. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. So now we have a right and a left, so we know which side is right now. This is right, so that will go there. But we have to put the nuts in first, which is kind of odd. Oh, damn. Can I just... No, my fingers won't manage that. There we go. Damn it. Oh, you probably can't see this. I'm just trying to put a screw in and failing miserably. Kind of wish I could get this arm like really better done. Anyway, so that's the two at the top, and then there's also this screw down the side. I don't know. Okay, that does go in okay. Try to avoid the camera. Let's bring this up so you get a better shot maybe. The more angles, the better. At least one might be good enough. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. Apart from struggle to get this nut out, I'm going to assemble one of these into it, because this one, because it's on the side, the hammer nut has a tendency to not sit quite where you want it, I think. And this head, this screw is also not going into here. So I'm going to pre-screw this into here. Oh, having the chap being really slow at the start, it's now gone so fast, I think I've missed a few things. Never mind. So yeah, I've just basically pre-assembled that one screw into there, because I think that'll make it a little bit easier, so I can put that one in, slide across to align the other two, and these countersink screws should fit in pretty easily. The squeaky with the drill. That's fine for like the middle of the hole, but this was just the head, so I didn't need to in this case. Why is this not? Oh no, that's right. Personally, I'm not a fan of using countersunks with printed parts, but in this case it is in the right direction to be using them, so not too bad. I suppose it does keep it looking really, really smart, having it nice and flush, so yeah, not too bad really. Where am I going next? Instructions are down low, but the printer's up high. It's a bit of a failure. And I can't really move it because it's part of the display as well. So those three in there. Prepare cap head screw, but do not thread it in. Looks like there's a nut there as well that's not been mentioned. Touch the M5 nut from the bottom, do not over tighten it. There's the countersunk for the yet to come top lid to it. I see, yeah, okay. That definitely makes a lot more sense. Yep. Cool. Thank you. The order for the bearing stack from the bottom is shim, idler, shim, 2 × 6 milliliters per spacer, and then shim. Thread the bearing stack onto the cap head. Attach the M5 nut from the bottom, do not over tighten, it should be snug, but should not prevent the idler from spinning. This looks like it's going to be extraordinarily difficult. One question, can we do this upside down? As in, if the screw comes up from the bottom, I'll show you what I'm thinking. In fact, maybe I'll assemble this side first and then I can show you a bit better with the camera. Or you might be able to see what I'm thinking. Basically, as I put I'm thinking assembling a whole stack of slightly small, wobbly, a little bit greasy things is going to be really quite difficult. So I'm wondering if, as I put the screw up through the bottom, if I was to go from the bottom, then you can put the things onto the screw as it comes through and then get through the top. Ah. You can use a second screw. Very, very sneaky. Yeah, okay, got it. I'll do the second screw strategy. So this is going here. I'm going to put this in here again. Oh, that's what we're doing. So we're just mirroring that first part over here. So we're going to need to get all the shims and stuff ready. So we're going to need eventually 2 of those. So we've got shims. Is it the... Which ones are we supposed to be using? Are we using the plastic ones or are we using the aluminium ones for this stage? There seems to be 2. Oh no, those are not going to work, are they? The aluminium. It's got to be the aluminium ones. The other ones are way too small. What an idiot. Yep. Okay. So my thinking here is move that in here. This is left side, so it's slightly different stack. So I'm just going to scroll down and do that side first. The only difference is that the bearing stack is upside down. Okay, so we'll just read the other stack, but do it backwards. The order stack from the bottom is, so we need it the other way. So it's shim. Two 6mm spacers. Shim, 6mm, 6mm shim. Idler, is it? Shim, idler, shim. Yeah, okay, so I might have to try to do these both at the same time. This is going to be difficult. Blimey, Charlie, how am I getting that in there? Whoa. I need something to push it in. A thing from an iFixit kit is going to be the right tool for this job. A proddy pokey thing. This sort of proddy pokey thing ought to do the trick. Top camera can't see. Okay, so that's the assembly the wrong way round, because the screw has to come from the top. So now we take the correct length screw We can't. There's too much plastic in the hole. No. Right. Hopefully now. No. Okay, so we're going to have to do it kind of the hard way here, I think. There we go. So now I need an M5 nut, so I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't say nylon or locking or nylon or anything, so, but at the same time I think this bag, although being unlabeled, is going to be the correct M5 nuts to use, these nylock nuts. That did work rather well actually, didn't it? Real life cheat codes. Yep. Thank you, good tip. Very, very nice. Now I need another tool for holding this street. What size? Not that size. Not this size. That's the one. I'm going to do actually, do this, tighten it from the top. Yep, all the weird tools. That might be grabbing really, really tight. I think that's about right. So now we're going to need to open the other bag of extra long screws. So we get an M5 by 55 out so that we can use the other M5 by 40 from the top down. So we'll start bottom up, and this time we'll go, not going to be able to see much, I don't think. This is a problem with, when printers get heavier and heavier, it's more and more difficult for me to try and get you a decent view without having to pick it up and move it every 30 seconds. A big old like Lazy Susan spitty table might be quite good for doing this. I guess I'll just move it, rotate it 90 degrees. Confuse the hell out of myself. So, I know we need to start with a 55 up from the bottom, which we'll be later replacing. So, by the way, I'm pushing it to the side because that stops it going in and out. If you try and like hold the vertical position, it's a bit difficult and it's too easy to let it fall out. So if you just literally very gently hold it to one side, it'll keep it in the vertical position that you have it. So that on there. poke that through. And then we have shim on the top of there. And then we have spacer. And then we have this is quite difficult. Come on. There we go. One more. So again, this is probably going to be a poke it in from here. It's just about holding. And then put this the rest of the way. And I forgot to clear out the hole again. So I have to dig some plastic out of here. I mean, both of these probably could have been, both of these could have been done with being drilled out, I think. It would have helped. Well, it's going to help this next bit because this screw, yeah, doesn't push in. There we go. Now we find another one of those nuts that we found earlier, but have now lost. Oh man, what did I do with them? I put them somewhere to keep them safe. So safe that I can't find them. There we go. Let's leave scissors. That's obviously too tight. Should be about, I think I'm going to back it off a little bit actually. There we go. Whew. So that's the two idler assemblies. You should have one idler down below and one at kind of the upper level. So you basically get two. Where do we put the belts? How do you get the belt? Belts. Should I have put the belts in as I'm doing this? Doesn't look very easy to get the belt in now. Oh no, that goes. I mean, it doesn't say to put the belts in, to be fair. So this is another, well, I'm just rolling the edge of the belt so that as I put it through, it kind of curls in this direction. So it should go in there, straight over. Nice and done. The belt from the easy side, then use that to put the real belt. Easy. It's the rolly belty end trick. I used it before on other CoreXY machines where you have these numerous belts. You just get that belt, as long as it just starts to curl very slightly in one direction, then it normally comes all around and back out. Confirm proper assembly. I think we've safely confirmed that. Mine looks exactly like that. Good stuff. Onto the Z motors. Well, this is rather quick progress, isn't it? We're going to be going 45 minutes. I'm going to treat myself to a quick bit of water. While I do this, a very quick ad break from our sponsors to say thank you to them for providing all the parts. It's literally 2 minutes long and then we'll be back, and I promise you won't miss anything because I'm just going to be having a sip of a drink. So I'll see you in about 1 minute. Actually, give me a second. It's about 1 minute and 55 seconds. But that'll be coming in just a second, maybe. Basically, I have this little timer that's going to go on the thing so you can see when it's done. Okay, time to say thank you to our sponsors. This live stream would not have been possible without our sponsors, Ratrig, Duet 3D and 3D Printz. The Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus balances value and performance. It's focused on small and medium-sized machines for those that want the quality and reliability of a Duet control board but don't want the high price or high power output of the full-size Duet 3 mainboard. The Mini 5 Plus provides 5 onboard drivers and the normal complement of heaters, fans, I/O, etc. There are Wi-Fi and Ethernet variants with the option of using a single board computer like a Raspberry Pi for control in the same manner as you might with other Duet 3 boards. 3D Printz is a UK-based filament supplier, but in recent times have become so much more. They're now a great destination for finding name brand components from all over the world, such as the Antlabs BL Touch, Wham Bam Systems, flexible build plates, 3D Gloop, Magic Who, Bondtech, Slice Engineering and more. If you're in the UK and Europe, and maybe further afield too, you might want to check out their shop for your next printer upgrade. In the UK, you'll also be able to take advantage of their free shipping for orders over £50. Ratrig is a company that you may not have heard of yet, but if you're into DIY 3D printers, or camera sliders, then we're going to change that today. The VCore 3 is a fully configurable CoreXY 3D printer kit. It's gone through several iterations over the years, and all the knowledge and lessons learned have been distilled into the VCore 3. MGN linear rails, low vibration idlers, robust 3030 extrusion frame and 9mm belts are just some of the key selling points. Today I'm looking at the 300mm cube default configuration, but it's also available in 400mm and 500mm cubes for those that like their printers big, and with lots of configuration options too. Keep watching to find out more, or if you need more details immediately, you can find the links in the video description. Wonderful. Big thank you to them. We would not be doing it if it wasn't for them. So, obviously the next step is some Z motor mounts, or Z motor mounts, depending on where you're from and how you like to say that letter. I'm preferable to Z, but I get slaughtered for it because I'm English and apparently it's supposed to say Z. Anyway. So looks like we're going to be starting in the classic way that we have been for many of these steps, with some good old M6 screws and some T-hammer nuts. So we've got some big old printed parts for this. I'm guessing that's one of them. I'm just getting out the bits that have this like NEMA 17 standard hole arrangement. Yep, that looks like the ones. It looks like we might be able to do this without the printer for a bit, so I'm going to move the printer away and we're going to have some weird camera angles. Oh, that's going to be weird. Maybe I'll just scooch the printer across and we'll just use the edge. I'm just going to bring this down so you can look down here. Hopefully this space is going to be enough for me to do whatever I need to do with these. So let's get these shims away. Don't need those at the moment, I don't think. So what I do need is M6 by 20. Have I seen those before? 35, 55. Let's get that other 55 back in the bag that we used. This looks like some M6 by 20. That looks like the ticket. It looks like 4 for this one. I'm not sure how many we're doing here. Front Z motor assembly. I mean, we've got 2 pieces that look like that. They look symmetrical? Identical rather, not symmetrical. And I've forgotten to put the holes through those. So it looks like we need 8. She's Polish when in doubt. Z. That's kind of it's similar to Z, isn't it? Z. Z, Z, Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should we move this a little bit further down? 6, 7, 8, is that? 2, 4, 6, 8. And this is the last 4 of these. This is a bag of more of these, is it? These look like different size. These are different size. They seem to have run out. There's this bag, spare parts. Well, let's use some of these. What the hell's going on with that one? Oh, that's an M3 one. It looks like we're quite a few short of those M6 hammer nuts. Strangely. Like a couple in here, but I don't think there's. Let's have a look. Quick spoilers for the rest of the instructions. Repeat the same twice in the case of those Z mounts to left and right. Two. 3, 4. There's a couple more in here. I think we're going to be a few short. I don't know if I have any. Considering we've got 4 there, 4 M6s there, 2 M6s there. Seems like we're going to need at least another 4. Maybe not all today. It doesn't look like there's another 4 in here. Again, it may be one of those situations where there's some more in an extra little bag somewhere because I've not used the kind of pre-kitted screw sets. So that's, I think all the ones in there now are M3 variety. That spool holder, that's going to be totally separate. And that's EVA, so not that. So that's all the ones that we have. Let's hope it's enough. Yeah, maybe they're not quite providing enough of these, excuse me, M6 hammer nuts. So, assembly is just, to begin with, M6 by 20s, push them through the holes and put the nuts on the back. I reckon I can manage that. So that's that one, and then repeat for this. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. As soon as you get a little bit of grease on the fingers, it's just impossible to do this close stuff without dropping things. Come on. Hello, James. What am I doing about mounting the electronics? I'm hoping there's a solution included. I'm just following the instructions. I have no idea about the problems I may encounter later. Sounds like you might know more than I do. So that's both of those done. Step 2. Attach NEMA 17 stepper motors to the printed part through the pillow block part with a cap head M3 by 18 screw. Insert the thrust bearing into the pillow block. Attach the coupler. The coupler needs to rest on the thrust bearing for the bearing to take the load of the motor shaft. Repeat this step for the other side of the printer. So it looks like we need some stepper motors. 1, 2, 3 of those. Ah, so there's no mounting of the electronics. I was expecting that to not be a thing. Interesting. Well, I guess I'll have some work to do before the next stream then, won't I? That's a little bit disappointing. I missed that it's not there, but I expected some printed brackets or something to hold it in, hold everything without it. Attach the NEMA 17 motor. So yes, we've got some motors. And we need a couple of these. And then we need some M3 by 18 screws. 3 by 20 and 3 by 10. and 3x12, 3x20, and 3x18. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Need those printed parts. I do remember the step where it says to put it in, but I assumed there were alternative solutions for those that didn't have one. Well, let's not worry about it now. It's going to be a little while, I think, before we're doing that anyway, so let's just carry on with what we've got. Need some thrust bearings. I know what they look like, but I can't see them. I think I'm being blind. I know those are here because I've already mentioned them once. Are these more? Those are different. Oh, there's magnets in here. Oops, there's it. These are quite cool little things. So I think we'll use quite a thin grease for this. I don't want a big thick silicone job. I think that's going to interrupt with motion. So something very simple ought to do just fine. So I'm just using some basic 3-in-1 oil. Seems to me like it's going to be easier to put this bearing into this part prior to adding it to the rest of the assembly. So I'm going to do that now. Oh, that one goes in very easily. So, stepper motor, I'm aligning it to what's on the screen. It looks like that. These look like some extruder. Oh, I forgot the black piece. I was going to say the screws look very long. I was like, well, that's because I missed a piece. There we go. That looks more in line with what I was expecting. Right, I think it might be time to start using a driver instead of the wrench. There we go. That's one. And I'm assuming the other one is done the same. So okay, so just considering how these are going to fit. I expected those to come apart quite easily. Apparently not. It's a bit of an oily mess, that. There we go. This one side. Put oil in this one. I suppose we can just do it onto here. That'll save it getting everywhere. Get rid of some of the excess. Okey-dokey, get the second plate, the second half of the thrust bearing on the top, nicely centered, and then we can put the coupler on top of that. Making sure it's pressed down and tighten into place. Doodly-doo-doo, that's two of those done. Now we have the other motor mount, which is presumably very much the same as what we just did, but with a slightly different looking mount. So some M6x12s. These look like, oh no, these are going through here. Okey-dokey. So that's 2 of those. Step 4, attach the NEMA motor. So we've got the cable coming out this side, that cable on the top there like so. So the pillow block on top. Do we have any more M3x18s? Yep. The last 4, so that's another bag for the bin. Tolerances are a bit tight on that, and that one's pretty much through. We've got the little bearing, thrust bearing. Hello, 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 hello. Oh yeah, I do realise the couplers don't need to come apart. I've not had any like that before, so I was just kind of inquisitive. You know what inquisitive minds do? They pull things apart and put them back together. Mostly pull things apart. Just for anyone, a note for anyone assembling, on the thrust bearing, from my experience with those 3 that I've just done, one size is larger than the other, so I've put the press fit side into the base and the loose fit side on the top. Don't know if that's necessarily the best way, but for your information, that is the way I have chosen to do it. No, I don't want oil on this yet. I want this in here first. That was not a good sound. I feel like the parts maybe could do with an extra perimeter, because I think that's the I've heard that kind of cracking sound a couple more times than I would probably prefer so far. Oh. Let's get a bit more oil on here. I don't know what that's going to be. And where's the 3rd coupler gone? Should be here somewhere. Where did I put it? Oh, you fool. Back in here? Here we go. I'm guessing they're deliberately like that for reasons like this, so you can press fit one side. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, that didn't work very well, did it? Huh? What the? In a bizarre turn of events, the thrust bearing is fighting back. These two seem to be fine. There you go. A little bit more juice and it's tightened. Let's try and clear this. Get that out and then we can put this away. If you only have like a silicon-based lubricant or something, it's probably going to be fine. They're not going to see hugely high wear because they're only Z-axis anyway. So, but I think when you got very light weights like that, if you have too thick a lubricant, they tend to slide rather than roll because the forces aren't high enough to overcome the grease. Did you grab bolted the couplers to the D of the shaft? I did look, but there's no... They don't interact with the D on the shaft. They're just round. The couplers are just round. There's no D. Oh, not this again. See? So it doesn't interact with the key on the shaft. So there's no way to stop it rotating. It's just grip strength. So yeah, size of the D, the big D, little D doesn't matter because it's not aware of the D. Put the assembly in the bottom front corner of the frame. Loosely bolt the assembly. You'll likely notice there's room for adjustment. This will be important later. So you need to find a way now to get these onto the frame. So it looks like this one's going to go over there like that. And this one should hopefully sit in here, like that. Well, I said don't do them too tight, didn't it? Well, I've not done them very tight anyway, so should be fine. Slide the back motor assembly onto the frame and bolt it loosely. Slide the 30-30 M16 nuts under the back side of the part. Loosely bolt the part from the top with the cap head M6x20 screws. So and we're going to have to rotate. Can you see that space over there? Yep. So this is going in here, somewhere like that. But first we need some bolts to put in here. So we have M6 by 20s and the last two M6 nuts. Oh, poop. I've really screwed the pooch on that one. Just as well, we've got some powerful magnets. Where did they go? My lights have randomly just decided to change colour. Oh. And we're back. Oh, where did that other... There we go. M6 by 20. There we go. Line it up. Push it down in there. Does this kit come with candies? No, no edible treats to be found. In the final steps of the assembly, the Z motor mounts will need to be adjusted in the XY positions to ensure the lead screws are parallel to the rails. Okie dokie. And a steak. So I wasn't planning to go any further than this today. We have only done an hour and a half. We have done 2 sets of the instructions. The question is, do we get started on the linear rails today, or do we wait for the linear rails for next time? This is a very good question, isn't it? Maybe it's a good time for a quick ad break, and I'm going to think about it in the meantime. We may be doing linear rails in just a moment. I shall let you know. Quick break and we shall be back in 2 minutes. This live stream would not have been possible without our sponsors, Ratrig, Duet 3D and 3D Printz. The Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus balances value and performance. It's focused on small and medium-sized machines for those that want the quality and reliability of a Duet control board but don't want the high price or high power output of the full-size Duet 3 mainboard. The Mini 5 Plus provides 5 onboard drivers and the normal complement of heaters, fans, I/O, etc. There are Wi-Fi and Ethernet variants with the option of using a single board computer, like a Raspberry Pi, for control, in the same manner as you might with other Duet 3 boards. 3D Printz is a UK-based filament supplier, but in recent times have become so much more. They're now a great destination for finding name brand components from all over the world, such as the Anklabs BL Touch, Wham Bam Systems, flexible build plates, 3D Gloop, Magico, Bondtech, Slice Engineering and more. If you're in the UK and Europe, and maybe further afield too, you might want to check out their shop for your next printer upgrade. In the UK, you'll also be able to take advantage of their free shipping for orders over £50. Ratrig is a company that you may not have heard of yet, but if you're into DIY 3D printers, or camera sliders, then we're going to change that today. The VCore 3 is a fully configurable CoreXY 3D printer kit. It's gone through several iterations over the years, and all the knowledge and lessons learned have been distilled into the VCore 3. MGN linear rails, low vibration idlers, robust 3030 extrusion frame and 9mm belts are just some of the key selling points. Today I'm looking at the 300mm cube default configuration, but it's also available in 400mm and 500mm cubes for those that like their printers big, and with lots of configuration options too. Keep watching to find out more, or if you need more details immediately, you can find the links in the video description. Which view? There we go. So, in adjusting term events, I've decided we shall do the linear rails. It looks like it's going to be just lots of screws, but we're not assembling anything onto them in this stage, so that should be fine. So let's get on with the linear rails now, and let's see how far we get. Looks like lots and lots of M3 screws. Use the MGN centering tool to help you mount your linear rails. Yes, blue towel, and I might even get gloves, to be honest. In fact, I probably should have washed my hands in that quick break, so I can put them inside gloves. We'll see where we get to. Might have to have another quick break. Because when I start opening these, I feel like that oil is going to be absolutely flipping everywhere. Consult our linear rail guide to prepare your rails. Linear rail guide. Prepare your work surface with disposable and absorbent paper towels. The linear rails are supplied with a protective oil coating on them. Carefully open one end of the linear rail package and remove the rail assembly. Place it upon the paper towels. Take a paper towel and carefully wipe the excess lubricant from the rail. Move the carriage to allow you to clean the whole rail fully. With the rail still on the absorbent paper towels, carefully and slowly move the carriage from one end of the rail to the other. You want to ensure the carriage is smooth from the entire travel length. Small changes in resistance are normal, with the carriage becoming much harder to push or binding completely are not. Repeat the previous test whilst applying a small amount of force downwards on the carriage. You will likely find the carriage travels more smoothly when doing so. This is normal. If the carriage moves freely from end to end, you are ready to proceed with the installation onto your machine. With the linear rail on the work surface, carefully install an appropriate length M3 socket head cap screw into each rail. Partially screw an M3 drop-in T-nut to each M3 bolt. Align the T-nuts so they will slot into the chosen extrusion. Carefully place the rail onto the extrusion and ensure all T-nuts fall into the slot. Align the rail to the center of the extrusion. This can either be done with a 3D printed alignment tool or simply a ruler or vernier calipers. The measurements for each side of the rail will depend on your chosen extrusion. Mounting a parallel rail. Yeah. So that's the general guide. Okay. The kit comes with X, Y, and Z. Insert all M3 screws and T-nuts into the rails. For the 3Z 400mm rails, use M3 T-nuts and M312. For the 400, use the ends of the rails are secured with bumpers that prevent the carriage from sliding off the rail. Those need to be removed for the final assembly. Once you remove these, be careful not to drop the carriage, as it will likely result in its lose all its bearings. Okie dokie. Yeah, a bolt in every single hole seems a little bit over the top, doesn't it? So let's move these out the way. I think I might keep this bubble wrap here. Get down some blue paper towel. Those blue paper towel rolls start absolutely huge and you think you'll never finish them, but somehow you do. I am going to wash my hands and get some gloves. So you probably still might be able to hear me the whole time. I'm literally not going far away. So now we should be able to get some gloves on, and where are the gloves? I used to have some gloves in easy reach for doing live streams, but that seems to not be the case anymore. Time for some surgery. So I do want to get the right parts first. So that's our M3 nuts. Presumably, yeah, there you go, the enormous bag. And was it M3x8? There we go. We're going to need something to open the bags. Small pair of scissors. So kit comes with its different length rails. For the 3Z 400 rails. So if I do the short ones first, 2 350s. Oh, okay. No, I'm not going to. Oh. Okay, doesn't matter. So open the bag, slide the rail out. Oodles of oil, as expected. You can see the amount of oil it's already deposited onto my work surface here. So how do they feel is the question. Good, actually, pretty good. They don't feel like the rough, cheap ones I've previously bought on AliExpress or anything. They feel consistent and smooth the whole way along, so that's good to see. Ugh, right. Does the oil taste purple? So this was, what length is this? Holy sh! This is a short one. So we're going M3 by 12 screws. So I probably want one in the ends, to be honest. So I'm going to move this. Oh, I was kind of expecting this to come out quite easily. But it doth not. Okay, I'm not going to put one in the ends because they... Why doesn't that come out? That should come out, shouldn't it? Need something a little bit slimmer then to push in there. Nope. Now I'm getting my greasy mitts everywhere. I'm looking for my old cheaper set of Allen keys, which are basically just lumps of steel, as Allen keys really are, that I can push through. Here we go. There we go. So I'm just going to move that along one. So here, 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 and then here, here, here. Damn it! Ah, that's... Shall I just do every hole because that's what it tells me to do? I don't like... Feels like too many. What did I do with the camera angles? Terrible. There we go. These are not very easy to get in, especially when you're oily fingers and got gloves on. I feel like I should follow the instructions and put them in every single one. I fully expect it to be over the top, but it's what the instructions say, and I have sort of committed to following the instructions, so bizarrely, even when I've wiped all the oil off the rail, more oil just seems to appear from nowhere. So let's fill in the rest of the holes with more screws. I didn't commit anything to them, but that's how I've said I would do it. This is going to take a little while. Maybe we'll just carry on like this and I'll do the rest off stream or something. And we'll assemble them onto the actual printer at the beginning of the next episode. See how we get on. If anyone has questions about stuff and things, now's probably a good time because I'm just screwing about. So that looks like one set securely done. Doesn't take too long, I suppose, but not super fast either. Any online instructions about that build? This build that I'm doing right now, I mean, I'm following online instructions. They're on the screen. And you can find the instructions via the links below. If you go to the project page, they're like towards the bottom of the description. You'll be able to find all the information you need, including these instructions. So how's this one? Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. What's your background? What do you do outside of YouTube, if you don't mind me asking? I eat, I sleep, and I drink. So my background is engineering. I have a degree in engineering. I had a job as a design engineer for quite a few years. And then I wanted to do more of this and start my own business. So I've started a business, which is Vector 3D, which is probably fairly obvious. And at the moment, I do the building of the YouTube things, as well as this workbench behind me, which is kind of your other question. Oh no, what's your background? Well, technically that's the background, which is also my background, which is kind of neat. So that is going, well, it's on track to become a product in the very near future as a workbench for 3D printing. So you might not be able to see on stream. No, you can't really. But it's very quick and easy to assemble. It uses pretty much all standard parts that are easy to get hold of, but I will be selling kits. And then there's at the top, which you can't see, there's a filament storage enclosure, and there's loads of potential modifications and upgrades and changes and like all stuff like that, which are like awesome. So it's basically a kind of modular workbench, so that if you're into 3D printing and making, it's probably something you would want to get. But if you can't buy like every part of the kit immediately, you can kind of get started with the base kit, which would be fine for doing a lot of things, just not necessarily very specialized. And then over time, if you want from like birthdays or Christmas or however you like to treat yourself and whenever suits, you can buy bolt-on upgrades. The whole thing's very easy to just add on to. You use a kind of a set of standard parts, so very easy to modify, upgrade, combine, increase. So yeah, that's a whole product that's on the way soonish. Takes an unbelievable amount of time, especially when you're just doing it on your own. So that's all the me things. Personally, I'm super excited about this workbench because it's going to be so freaking awesome. Like, as a structure, it's brilliant. As an assembly process, it's so simple and so easy to do, and the result is just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really, really happy with it. This and this. So when it's viable, I will make sure you all have access as soon as physically possible. That's the second rail done. Yeah, soon. I mean, because it is just me, running a business on your own just takes an incredible amount of time. And when you're trying to do like contracting, engineering contracting, plus developing this, plus making YouTube videos, I mean, I don't make many YouTube videos at the moment because I'm working on this and that. So, you know, juggling time left, right and center to get done as much as I physically can. Did you miss much? I'm going to go with everything. This will be the last thing we're doing today. But it is more than I had initially planned. So in fact, yes, you've missed everything that is included in the title and description. But apart from that, I hope you had a great day at work. That looks good. Pretty happy with the quality of these rails so far. They look, well, just from sliding them up and down. The consistency, normally you can tell as the width changes, you get kind of rough spots. These are really consistent pretty much all the way along. Oh, where did the Allen key go here? I think we need another rag. Yeah, they are obviously, so they're, for anyone that can't obviously see, there are no brand names on the rails, so they're obviously not going to be your very most expensive high win or anything like that. But from what I've just felt so far, obviously we don't know about durability or anything like that. We don't know how consistent they are from one batch to the next. All I can test is obviously what I have right here. But with rails that are cheap, you get like high spots or wide spots, if you like, where the rail will kind of stop or be much harder to push in one part than others. Whereas here it's really quite smooth all the way along. So that seems pretty good to me. Ooh. I've not mentioned anything about liking the stream today, so if anyone has the availability to hit the like button, that would be very much appreciated. I don't know if it actually really makes any difference, to be honest, but it makes me feel good, so... In fact, I don't know if I really look at the likes on the video much after it's done. I tend to watch views. Views tend to tell you people that like the video because they're watching it. Like, that tells you that they liked it, in my mind. Whereas liking is obviously like an additional action above and beyond. And I think only a certain subset of people that do enjoy the video would hit the like button, because, I don't know, that just seems to be my interpretation of what's going on. Might be totally wrong, but anyway. Yep. 60 to 70 quid a rail would be just not really feasible, I don't think, would it? People just wouldn't pay that much when you can get... I mean, obviously there are people that do. Like, lots of people do that. People do upgrade their, like, Ender 3s with high wind rails because people are bonkers like that. But spending 180, 200... I mean, this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rails? That's like 350, 400 quid before you have any other parts. Just not feasible. So looks like these are going to be pretty good. Hopefully they do last. That'll be the telltale sign. LDO just seem to just nail everything they're doing. They're just pretty good. Obviously they're mainly motors, but well, my impression was that they were mainly motors. But obviously they're quite close with the 3D printing community, so I've done a whole bunch of things. There we go, there's another entire rail. Blub, 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 blub. Pretty nice. Let's move this oily stuff away. Oh, getting a sore back from hunching over. So another 400mm rail. Exactly. Getting 80% for 20%. The classic 80-20. Or 90-20 in this case. I guess what you're already, what you're also paying for when you go with bigger named brands and this kind of thing is support and that kind of stuff that you get with it. I imagine they have some support clause of durability and guaranteed operation of hours and thousands of hours and times between failures and all this kind of stuff for precision machinery. But for 3D printing, a lot of that's largely unnecessary because the loads on these rails are so low that they would almost last forever. For example, for anyone that recalls my Extruder printer, I upgraded that to some rails on the Y-axis on the bed, and they were premium expensive rails, like extortionately. But same sort of geometry, same sort of size, and they were rated for something like 250 kilos each. 250 kilos each. I think that was like each carriage or something. So like the amount you could put like 500 kilos, like half a ton on these tiny little rails. It was absolute craziness. So when you load it with literally like 6 kilos of bed and a maximum maybe a couple of kilos of a huge print, is just nothing. It's like they're not even up. So for anyone else doing this at home, do be careful when you're wiping the rail not to get any of the rag like left in the rail, because you don't want it getting stuck in the bearings. It might have looked like I've not been doing that, but I have been as much as I can. Yeah, unfortunately, European warranty is not quite so useful now that the UK has left the EU. But I guess that's a discussion for another time. I've been had a bit of a nightmare getting this into the country because it's obviously to a business address. It counts as a business import. So you have to have special import numbers to bring stuff from the EU. And then getting that number is not necessarily a trivial process. But it's fine, it's all done. So I think this is the last rail we need. I know, 3 400s. How many have I done? Am I missing a rail? What am I doing? There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I just being stupid? Oh no, it's only 1 for the X, isn't it? Yes, 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 yes. Of course. I was just thinking in pairs for some reason. Hello, Fabio. Let's not talk about taxes. Yep, preload is important. They're designed with a certain preload built in and need to have a certain load in order to get the best performance. Which is why you might find with, oh dear, I think we found one of those nuts that's not quite threaded right. Oh no, just me being a spanner. If you have this and you just slide it like from side to side, it might feel a bit stiff. If you apply loads of force and do the same thing, it'll slide much more easily. But if you think about it, on these machines you're not going to get, because half these are going like this, you'll get some torque from the bed. So you'll have this kind of pulling out and this pushing in. And that's the kind of motion, so yeah. Seems good to me. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. Aren't these carriages already preloaded? Yeah, the preload is like baked into the size of the rail and the carriage. That's like an intrinsic property of the design. But my point is, applying additional load, the design load, will help the smoothness of the motion. Right, one more. And then we can do the 8mm ones. Yes, it's overkill probably to use every screw to mount the rail. This is absolutely true, and I'm inclined to agree, but as part of my process of doing this, I always say that I'm going to follow the instructions. So god damn it, I'm going to follow the instructions. The part of the reason for me is if I'm doing a review of something and I don't do it as per the manual, then really I'm reviewing my interpretation of their design rather than their design, if that makes sense. So for example, if I was to only put a screw at one end, so I was being really lazy, I was putting it on and I was like, okay, well that's going to be fine. And then I start using the bed and it kind of bends or whatever halfway down, and you're like, well, obviously if there was a screw there, then that wouldn't happen. So I can't say the bed's rubbish and wobbly if I've not followed the instructions and done it my way. But if I follow the instructions, do it exactly as requested, and then have problems, then it's obviously not my fault. And so that's a useful point of review. Does that make some sense? Maybe that makes some sense. I want to review their design, not my interpretation of it. That's why I'm doing pretty much every screw. I want to leave the stoppers in because I don't want the carriages to come off. That would be horrendous. And that might be a recommendation because given that we're using nearly every screw, it seems reasonable to assume that one missing each end won't have an enormous effect, but you never know. Just while I'm thinking, for those that are involved in creating the instruction manuals and the preparations, etc., it would be really nice, I think, for those that are maybe less experienced and maybe don't have all these things already, like paper towel and stuff like that, to have them in like an included suggestion list or something. So for those people that have maybe bought a printer, maybe waited for it to arrive, they can buy all the extra things that would be useful for the assembly while they're waiting, rather than wait for the printer to arrive, start reading the manual, and then realise that, oh, I now need to wait another week because I need to buy this thing, which is not that easy to get, for example. You know, might be useful. Yeah, these rails can take a huge amount of load, no matter like what you're doing to them. It's absolutely bananas. So there we go, that's all the 12mm screws done. Now I can put, so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 left. So that's for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 that I didn't put in, and then one spare in there as well by the looks of it. Very, very good. but we're looking pretty short on the M3 nuts, so that'll be interesting to see if we have enough. My hands are so slimy. Can't get these out. Yes, the rails are not going anywhere with this number of screws. If I bomb hit it, it would. Oh, why did I get all of them out? I mean, you fool. Is it the same nuts for the 20? Ah, no, of course, it's going to be the 2020 nuts, isn't it? Wakey, wakey, Adam. Here we go. That's why there's not many left, because don't need them. And again, I got all out of the bag. It's been a long day, clearly. Oops, stoop. This rail actually looks a little bit less oily, I think, than the others. Maybe just an illusion. This one's probably going to be a bit more difficult to do because I can't hold the screws quite as easily. Oh, the nuts are really tiny and fiddly. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Oh no, I forgot to move the things. Let's move this first. Yeah, I am kind of swimming in oil. Right, let's see if I can manage this. What I might do, if I've got a suitable, here we go. Assembling this in 3D CAD is easier. Assembling a CAD is always easier. You can just insert one, pattern it along, literally move it through other parts of assemblies in order to get it in place. If only that was possible in real life. Just put one in and go, and it patterns them all the way along, perfectly spaced. It would be a dream. undo. Right, boys and girls, we're nearly there. Flip it around. This is quickly getting into a very deep and philosophical. Damn it, what's the word? Philosophic, damn it. How did it take me so long? Philosophic discussion. Fossilific. Oh man. Right. Don't anyone ever tell you that I get other people to do things for me, because it's clearly not true. Because if I did have somebody to do things for me, that would have been one of those things. Right. That was not hugely fun, going to admit, but it is done now, so that's good. And we've done pretty much every single one on there. Only 3 nuts spare, so that's what I've got for mounting my electronics. Oh no, that's the M330x30, so 11. That's going to be something I need to look at, obviously. Please, please put them on the frame. I probably should, shouldn't I? What's the time? 15 minutes. What's the chance of we'll get them? Well, we can start. So, I think my nose is itchy just because of the oil around. It's weird. I'm not putting them away, don't worry, I just need obviously space to get the printer back up on this desk. And I think we want to put some of this stuff away. My hands are clammy now and sticking to everything. It's the only downside of gloves, but there we go. Oakley dokley. How the flaming Nora do we do this then? Eh? Eh? Prepare the rail fastening. Insert all M3 screws and T-nuts into the rails. For that, use that. For that, use that. For that, use that. Da 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 da. Fit the T-nuts on the linear rails inside the profile slots and use the MGN alignment tool to align the rail. If you don't have an MGN alignment tool, measure the space between the side of the rail. 9mm on each side, measure each rail in 4 points. The rail should not rest on the motor mounts, but instead be fastened approximately 1mm above. Of course. Okay. So I'm going to need gloves again because I've now got to handle these rails. I think we're going to want 2.5mm Allen key. Got the tool. Looks like there's a bit of a print error on the tool, but hopefully that's going to be okay. Let's move these cameras back up to the higher position. Although I almost want it lower position. This one's probably good as it was actually, wasn't it? Silly me. Lower. Let's get this down. Sorry for anyone that gets a little bit seasick. Hopefully not too much. Another pair of gloves. Yeah, I'm going to find something to use as spacer. I mean, I've got washers. Yeah, I'll use one of these hex keys, that'll do. Good plan. Boop, 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 boop. These are really bizarre sizes, 1.3, 0.9 and 0.7. Let's go for the 1.3. I mean, it's not going to sit across the flats anyway, is it? Right, so fixing this rail here. Let's try and get a decent look at what's going on. So, of course, first we need to make sure all the nuts, not that one, that's the that's the only one that won't go there. Let's try another one. It was the wrong size nuts, that was for the 2020. So these will need to be vertical, then rotate, hold, place the chosen Allen key at the base to stop it going too low, and bibbidi bobbidi boom. Something doesn't feel quite right. That's not good. So, problem numero uno. The top rail here, can you see? Yeah. So this rail along the top is slightly over this one here by a fraction of a millimeter. So when pushed against here, it's not quite flat, which means, well, it's not good. So we need to unscrew that rail, unscrew this bracket and try and move this forward to be more flush with this face here. So let's see if we can do that successfully. What are the chances of me being able to do that successfully? Oh, I guess we can leave it a little bit loose for now, and then when it's all tight, then we can tighten it up. That'll be an easy way to do it. Cool. So placing the alignment tool here, we'll do one that's close to it. And then we'll move it up to the top and do one right up there. What? It's not going flush for some reason. Oh, I think the screw, this part of the end, there we go. It wasn't, you know how these hammer nuts have to rotate at the end? It wasn't doing that for some reason. I'm not going to be able to get this out now that it's on. Oh, I can just grab it with a pair of, hoping maybe this. There you go. Oh, you fool, Adam. I think maybe that's why it wasn't sitting flush. The length of the screw was jabbing at the rail. The carriage, rather. Not that one. Yes, it is going to weigh significantly more, isn't it? It's going to weigh an absolute ton now. Oh well. Oh, that was close. I very nearly did a stupid thing. Let's put that stopper back in before I do any more stupid things. I can't put it back in now. Come on. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Why wouldn't you tighten the rails alternating to the middle? I didn't say to. Why would you? If anything, you'd want to do it one end to the other, I think, wouldn't you? I don't know. What I did, so for anyone that missed that, I did one end. So using this, obviously, to align it, you do one with this, one at the other end, and then with everything else in the middle. And I've got that 1mm gap, so really happy with that. So the ones on this side now face inwards. So that's a short one, that's a short one, this one is available. So one thing I can take from that previous assembly is that it's worth putting the screws in a little bit further. In fact, I think we might stop there for today. I've done one rail so you know what they look like, but we'll finish them off next time. We made it to 10 o'clock and that makes it 2.5 hours, and since I haven't started that one, I think this is a reasonably good place to stop. Huh. That was a grand old time, wasn't it? You can't really see me. What about a really strange close-up? So, that's going to be it for today. Again, thanks very much to the sponsors of the stream. That's Ratrig for providing, of course, the printer. Duet 3D for the Duet, which will be fitting at some point, and of course 3D Printz. So thank you very much to them. Hopefully this has been useful for you. Today we've gone through quite a lot, a little bit more actually than I expected. So we've mounted both of the motor mounts, well 3 of the Z motor mounts all down at the base, that's all of them. The 2 idler assemblies up at the top for the X and Y belts, that went rather smoothly. And then we spent a very long amount of time putting M3 nuts into linear rails. One of those is fitted and we'll carry on with that next time, so that will be the main topic of next week. So very much looking forward to that. It's really, really starting to look like a printer now, so all rather exciting. Of course, thank you very much to all of you for watching, chatting, answering each other's questions. That's really helpful. Thank you very much for doing that. And hopefully I shall see you in the next one, which may be tomorrow evening, depending on how I'm feeling. We shall see. Anyway, goodbye for now, and hope you have a good evening, day, morning, whatever time it is where you are. I shall see you in the next one.